So back in the days of cEDH history, Flash Hulk was dominating the format. Now everyone can say it's a pretty good combo, but there's more to it than that. Now sure, it's a 2-card combo that can win in instant speed for only 2 mana. But what made it absolutely bonkers is how it operated on a very strange axis. You see, before we banned Flash, Rule of Law was basically unplayable. Flash Hulk decks might even want to have a Rule of Law card inside their 99. But when we banned Flash and we more or less moved over to an odd NAS playstyle, a Storm playstyle, where everyone want to cast a lot of spells in one turn, well then Rule of Law became really good. And that's what I want to prey upon inside this video with this card. Hi and welcome to my video series about cEDH concepts and IDs. This is not a deck tech video, even though it will kinda look like one. We're not choosing a commander, we're choosing an ID, a card, a thing we wanna do, and then building towards that. In this video we're gonna talk about how we could strategize around this card, but also what potential commanders could be operating with this ID that I have for this video. And this is basically how I construct cEDH decks in general. I never pick a commander, I pick the combo and then I choose the commander afterwards, the most fitting one for my ID and the thoughts that I have with it. So what is Divergent Transformation and what does this have in common with Flash Hulk? You see, the playstyle of Flash Hulk was very interesting and very different. You see, you could win in instant speed whenever you wanted to, so you went for it as fast as possible. Right? Wrong. You actually sat back, leaned back, rolled your thumbs and didn't do anything except drawing cards and making yourself grow and eventually drawing into more interaction, more counterspells and more good stuff. And then when you felt like it, you went for it. You see, there's a timing window that you're looking for, which usually is around when someone is trying to win themselves and everyone is consuming interaction and then you win on top of them. This is a super strong position to be in inside the cEDH format, because a really good strategy inside cEDH is just to sandbag. And Flash Hulk was really good at doing that. And by the way, when we're on the topic, crop rotation, emergence zone, same but different. Divergent Transformation is a polymorph spell that can target creatures, for example your 2 commanders or 2 tokens that you control, because the controller will start to flip cards from their library until they hit 2 creatures or the amount of creatures that was exiled with Divergent. So we can program this. We can hit by only having 2 creatures inside our entire deck, Fastest Oracle and Leveler. Now some of you are gonna say that this shouldn't work because what if Leveler comes into play first and exile Oracle and something of the sort, or maybe the triggers doesn't go accordingly to your plan. The thing is in Magic is that a spell has to resolve before anything else can happen. So Divergent will completely resolve, putting both creatures into play directly, and then 2 triggers will go onto the stack and you are allowed to layer the triggers however you want. So first you will layer Leveler above, removing your library from the game, and then Fastest Oracle will resolve and you win the game. Divergent also has a very interesting ability, Undoubted. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each opponent, so if you have a 3 opponents, the usual take is that this will cost 4 mana. So here we have a 1-card combo for only 4 mana that can win in instant speed. Well, there's build up, of course. You need to have 2 creatures in play. Those could be your 2 partner commanders or tokens. But what is making this game plan very desirable currently is the fact that no one is really expecting this anymore. When this was the metagame, everyone was prepared that someone would try to win in instant speed on someone else's turn whenever they saw the perfect timing window. In these days, people are winning on their own turn in sorcery speed. So here we have a potential of catching people off guard. But also we have the chance of preying on people putting Rule of Law effects into play. So we have lots of different options here. For example, Thrasius and Akiri, 2 really cheap partner commanders, you're only playing 4 mana totally for both, and then 4 mana additional like later in the game for Divergent. It's very easy to set up, and people aren't really that interested in dealing with these 2 creatures either. But you could do something else as well. You can sit there and go, I'm a Voltron artifact deck with my Akiri Lightslinger. And it kind of will be that. I mean, you're gonna play a lot of artifacts inside this deck, obviously. Mana Rocks for Thrasios. You're probably gonna play the Underworld Breach, Lioness Diamond, Brain Freeze combo, obviously. I mean, it's the exact same color identities. Underworld Breach, that's red. Brain Freeze, that's blue. That's all we need. Divergent and Thasus. There we go. But we could also easily swap out Akiri for Vile Smasher, which will give you better color identities. And here we have a very nasty play we could make. Let's pretend that we have Vamp Tutor and Mana Crypt in our opening hand. Now what you could do here is sneak your Divergent into your hand. Because what you're gonna do is like per turn 1, pass turn, in before your second turn you cast Vamp Tutor and you put a mysterious card on top of your library, and then you play Mana Crypt afterwards. Now you did have Mana Crypt in your opening hand, but you choose to leave it in your opening hand and pass the turn cycle because you weren't really gonna do anything with it anyways. But then you cast Vamp Tutor turn 2. Everyone is gonna believe that you tutored for Mana Crypto. And now you have sneaked a mysterious card into your hand, Divergent Transformation, and you can win in instant speed once you have your 2 commanders in play, and the people aren't gonna be that prepared for it. But black tutors are really desired when you want to do this kind of strategy because you don't need to reveal the card that you're finding. But people don't get that afraid when you tutor only once because you usually need to tutor twice to perform a combo. I guess I should also mention that Divergent Transformation is a 7 mana cost spell, so you're paying 4 mana to throw a 7 damage Vile Bomb with your crazy Goblin Berserker. But when you're sitting down with this pod, people are usually gonna estimate that you're playing Ad Nauseam, which you honestly could do, like Divergent will be annoying inside that deck. Leveler 5 CMC will also be kinda annoying inside that deck as well. But people are usually gonna estimate that when you're playing that pair, you're on Ad Nauseam, Storm, Underworld Breach stuff. Also, Thasus Consult, that's 2 spells, you can't win with that either, so the Rule of Law effect should prevent you from being a threat, and that's where everyone is wrong. And where we catch them off guard. But I also want to mention Kaikar here. Yes, Kai, now it's only 1 commander, but you're producing tokens, and you can target your tokens with the Divergent Transformation to find Leveler and Thasus Oracle. Now Kaikar is actually already doing this, finding Elisha of the Infinite and Trinket Mage, and Trinket Mage will find Sensei's Divining Top, and here you have the Kaikar Elishnorn Sensei's Divining Top combo assembled. You will draw out your entire deck and basically perform a storm combo of various sorts. But if you are playing in a pod or a metagame where Rule of Law is very common and you've played Kaikar before against stacks Rule of Law annoying decks, then you could surprise them with including Leveler and Thasus instead, and when you sit there and there's a Rule of Law effect and playing just cast Divergent, they might let it resolve and you boom win in instant speed from out of nowhere to their surprise. I guess we should mention Nayela the Blade Blossom as well. She's producing a lot of tokens and yeah, you could do that. But as this is a strategy I've played quite a lot, Dwarven Mine in my opinion is greater good sometimes. Now it's a land that comes into play tapped and lets you control 3 or more mountains, and the way you build your mana base, that isn't usually a problem. You're creating a token here, and by the way, this is a mountain, so you can fetch it, which means that you have potential 5 Dwarven Mines inside your deck, and that could really help achieving that token, that creature that you need for your combo to work. So how should you pilot this? What is your game plan structure? Well, it's actually quite simple. You need to get your commanders into play as fast as you can, and then tutor this secretly, preferably, or get this into your hand and sit tight. And then you're looking for the timing window, preferably when someone is trying to combo off themselves, you win on top of them. The big skill in executing this is knowing when to go for it. Now, because you're usually sitting tight, doing nothing, rolling your thumbs and sandbagging, passing priority on everything you see, I would recommend playing a commander pair that have a mid-range game plan, something that can do something if it's just a stalled out, nothing is happening game. But we do have some optional game plan strategies here as well in that very stalled out scenario. Let's say everyone is sitting and passing priority, holding counterspells, and we predict that we can't win the counterspell war. Well, they're probably gonna let the crop rotation resolve, or well, you can just land drop Boseiju and that's that. And now they can't counterspell Divergent anymore. But crop rotation could also be used to speed out that Dwarven Mine 2 creature total to win the match as well. But if you don't have the same kind of passion for Divergent Transformation that I do, because I actually really like it, it creates deck building restrictions, and I think that's very interesting. It's like a challenge trying to create a deck that can't play creatures. Well, you can still play the entire concept that I've talked about inside this entire video with Emergency Zone. It's the exact same concept and idea. You don't really need crop rotation, you just need Emergency Zone. You could use a tutor to find Emergency Zone and put it into play and just sit there and pass turn forever. If you didn't play this format in the Flash Hulk era, you might be skeptic. Because the playstyle sounds very strange at first, sitting there and doing nothing. Well, the thing is, when you can win whenever you want, I promise, doing nothing feels amazing and works wonders. Because once again, sandbagging is a very strong game plan inside multiplayer games in general, and this is exploiting that to a great extent. I hope you liked the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.